I think you should try it. Oh, this is great.
Definitely a cult phenomenon.
You know what I think?
It just hits you in the
yeah.
face. Well, recording is now in progress.
Blood and
I realize I like paint.
That was a botch. I'm blending. Hold on.
So, anyway, thanks for tuning in. We're talking about wrestling.
I'm talking to the potatoes.
That's how it's gonna go.
Oh my God, we're back. We are back. Okay, so
I don't know, man.
what we after all that bullshit that we just talked about for 40 minutes, we were it was the Dynamite and Saraya.
Saraya was like the big hype thing, which first of all, I swore that they said she wasn't going to be on. Like they announced her being on, and then with the whole the the storm in Florida, they said, "Oh, she's canceled." But then she was there. I don't know.
You sure that they didn't mean storm as in
Tony Storm?
Tony Storm? But
I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing things anyway. Who knows?
Confusing because she did come on. She came on. Overall, from bits and pieces that I watched of it, I thought that was the biggest thing about. Even though the matches were good, I mean, I'm not trying to deny that.
I thought the matches. Yeah, go talk about Mox and Juice.
Yeah, I thought Mox and Juice was good, and
Juice is always good.
Mox bled, of course.
What?
He has to bleed.
What does his mother think of this?
So I also think it's funny how they're cutting out the curses now with everything.
Oh man,
it doesn't make any sense. So if you're gonna cut the curses out, then just don't even say them. Just say something else. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to. If you don't want to say, it just seems forced then. Like so, just you know. Anyway,
it just so many little things happening in wrestling lately. In AEW in particular, that are just like chipping away at like the AEW we used to know. And
I think that has to do with the providers, the networks.
Yeah.
Because I heard the rumors that they were trying to cut out the blood and try to cut out the curse. And so I think when Mox was bleeding, I think that actually didn't mean to happen. I think he just was starting to bleed and
hard way.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
The cursing though is just like, if that's the case, just don't say it then. You don't have to work your way around it. It just sounds more silly, I think, with the whole cutting. And then I feel like it's back into like when you were a kid and you listen to a hip hop song and they freaking bleep them out.
Oh man, if you listen to like a song on like Spotify where it's like all clean versions or something, a song you grew up with, or it just
and it makes it sound terrible. Like even like they cut out words that doesn't even sound like it makes it sound even worse than the actual song. But
yeah. And am I mistaken, or did they try bleeping the crowd? There was
They did. They did.
Okay, because the crowd was chanting "Shut the fuck up,"
and they bleeped out "fuck,"
and they tried to bleep it, and they realized I think they couldn't bleep it, or you wouldn't be able to hear anything.
Yeah,
and they stopped trying.
Yep. And that's another thing too. Don't cut out the crowd because even with the networks have no control of what the crowds are going to say. So why are you going to?
Nobody does.
So that's not their fault. So don't let the crowd do whatever they want to say. Even WWE doesn't do that. You know. But
it's weird. It feels desperate. I don't like it.
Yes. It feels like they're trying so hard now for the networks, and it's like because they know that they're on thin ice.
Yeah.
But it's just so if that's the case, again, my final word of the cursing is just don't say them at all. Then there's another lot of ways to say shit instead of saying shit in your promo.
Poop.
You know. So.
But the big hype for last night's Dynamite was last night as of this recording, probably not when you're hearing this. If I guess somebody's hearing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some fucking people listen. The big hype was Saraya.
Yep.
Right. We will hear from Saraya. The AEW like we will hear from announcement where they want to have a non-committal announcement that somebody's going to be on the show, but not say what they're doing. So you and I, this is going to be fun because like we're on opposite sides of like the whole Saraya thing, which we talked about a little bit previously, but like we've talked about it more in depth, you and me on the side, and like, you know, it's you know, I don't know. We can have a little friendly debate here.
Yeah, and because I know, like, my side of the whole Saraya
Saraya.
is that I understand you disagree that they could have done it without her. With the, but since they've been around for 3 years, they haven't. And I don't know why. If it's yeah, I'm sure it's booking. I know it's booking, and know it's not having enough faith. But with the roster that they have, I feel like there's only about 4 people that's probably more talented than Saraya. And I don't even think Saraya is that great of a wrestler. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she's amazing, but I do think that what she does and how she is on the mic and how she is as a presence of everyone knowing her, there's probably only 4 people that's more talented to her, for me, in my eyes,
Right.
in AEW.
Well,
so with that being said, I feel like that this is going to be a push to make eyes open that doesn't watch AEW watch her now, because a lot of people know her from WWE. A lot of people know her from NXT. A lot of people know her from the movie that The Rock made. The Rock opened up the eyes of a lot of things when he made that movie about her. So because of that whole aspect, you have now a whole bunch of eyes that's not even wrestling fans know her. And then, so therefore, when you go to AEW and she's doing this, you're going to have a lot more eyes watching the female division. So that in itself is going to make the ratings go up.
right. And I don't want to base everything on the ratings, but let me fill in a little bit of the blanks. What we're talking about is I felt that the problem with the women's division isn't a lack of star power, is a lack of booking. And Tony Khan not seeming to have faith in the women's division to really give it the attention it deserves, and not that there's a lack of talent, but there's talent that's not being used. And I felt like this was put into perfect perspective on Dynamite when Jamie Hayter is sitting there as a sidekick, doing nothing, saying nothing, and the entire fucking arena goes into Jamie Hayter chants.
Yeah, and I agree with
that.
Yeah.
And to me, that just sums it up. Like, here is this person who is a homegrown star. I mean, she's been around and everything, but like, she did some stuff for AEW a while ago. She disappeared, I think, during the pandemic, came back not that long ago. But like, somebody who has a little bit more homegrown roots than, somebody like Paige. And or even Madison Rain, who's like, definitively like an Impact person. And to me, the fact that they're missing the opportunity of using her to her full extent, I think is a drastic mistake and an example of like a lot of what they're not doing. I mean, a lot of what they're not doing to get the women's division over and to use it properly. Chris Statlander's another. I mean, I think she's hurt right now, but she started to get a push and then just fizzled out and then got hurt.
Which wouldn't be their fault.
No, of course not. But I mean, I think they didn't push her when they didn't do the strike while the iron's hot thing, which they, opportunities don't come around all the time. We saw this with the Acclaimed, how they didn't call the audible on that match, the first match against Swerve in Our Glory, gave them the titles on the next match, and it just wasn't anywhere close to being the same. It didn't have the same impact or even close to what would have been the same impact. And I know that's a separate storyline and different people, but like, it's just an example of like, you can't recreate certain magic. You can't just say, we'll come back to it later, which is, I feel like what they did with Hayter and Chris Statlander. I think they backpedaled on Jamie Hayter. They started to do this thing where she was pulling away from Britt Baker, and then they were like, no, maybe not. And then they just did a 180 on it, or at least seemed to. I mean, the angle seemed to be like a whole 180. And if the idea was just to do a 180 on the angle in the first place, that was a dumb angle. But the other thing, so that's the one thing. I feel like the problem is not the star power. The problem is the booking. You had mentioned that like her celebrity would bring more eyes to the women's division because of everything she'd done before. Personally, my take is potentially that is true. I think that because she's there, Tony Khan's going to put more of his own focus on the women's division because he has someone who he thinks is a star, and he never had the confidence of the women he had prior to this. So I think she will help the women's division in as much as she's going to give Tony Khan a reason to put more of his attention on the women's division. I don't necessarily agree that all these new eyes are going to make a difference because personally, I don't know if it's happened yet. Maybe there was a big rating this week. I know they had a big rating recently. But those eyes go away.
Well, you have to keep them. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
so far, I think that the people who are like old WWE NXT fans who are coming over to see her, and the people who know her from the movie, I don't think are going to stick around no matter what.
It
right?
depends.
They're going to come. They're going to go. We've seen it before. They've brought in every big star they possibly could, and it hasn't really had any long-term effect on the ratings.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Just not to cut you off, but like I just want to say, like, now you said like you agreed that because she's there, he might pay more attention to the women's division. That's really what you needed is him to pay more attention. So if it actually made it for him to get her into it and involved, for him to say, okay, let me just try to pay more attention, that alone is going to give him more confidence in his other people because she's going to help out. That's going to get, so therefore when that happens as well, and they get more airtime, they get more whatever, they are going to get better. And then that's even going to keep people now locked in because now all of a sudden they're saying, oh, wait a second, they really can wrestle. Oh, wait, they're actually having time. So if it's just started with her, regardless if it's her, whatever, because it started with him giving a Karen, is she still going to make a difference? And
you might be right.
Plus, I have never, and besides Punk, have heard a pop like that when she came out. She was probably the biggest pop besides Punk coming into that AEW roster.
That was huge.
I have never seen so that shows that the crowd, it was unexpected. They fucking love her. So that's going to make them even more hype because they said, okay, now we could actually really pay attention themselves, because most people who watch AEW themselves say the women's division needs help. So now even them are saying, oh my God, this is going to help out a lot.
Well, they have to do it right. I don't know that yes, she got that huge pop. The thing is, I think she could have detrimental effects also. And I think her appearance on Dynamite this week was bad. Not that she was bad. She does it. You're right. She has the star power that nobody else has. Britt Baker's close, but she came out there. She's just a natural on the mic. She feels comfortable. She has a presence. That's all there. I've said before, I've not been a big fan of her matches. So I think if they make her wrestle, that's a whole different thing. But that's not just her matches themselves, but just the way this has all been set up. It's going to be weird. But to me, what happened this week was she came out, it was a moment and it just fizzled and fizzled and fizzled. And by the end of it, the crowd was dead. Like for somebody who had the biggest pop ever, or the biggest pop since Punk at least, by the time her promo ended and she was like, a lumberjack match, it was crickets, dude. Crickets. And it was a decent match. And it's a shame because you hype up this match, to the rafters, and Toni Storm and Serena Deeb put on a good match. It wasn't their fault. It's a problem when you hype something up too much because you're starting at a deficit, right? You have to live up to that hype. And the crowd just wasn't there for that. They had already they did not give into the hype from the beginning. And so then they had to wrestle against this deficit.
I think
of overhyping the match.
For me I feel like though the first match, like she just got there. So I can't really pinpoint like everything just for one time, but in my eyes, it seemed like there was at least hope because there was more focus. You could tell that there was actually more focus in the women's division, even though a lumber match is a cheesy way of getting everyone involved. It still seemed that they're willing to try more now, and that she's actually, I really do think that she's going to help out. She actually went on the commentary to start helping, with being a commentary for the women, because they actually don't have any female commentary in anything.
Never.
So if she does more of that too, that's going to help. I just feel that all these things will actually help the female division at least have something where it's not just like these really 2-second matches. It's not having deep fight 4 matches a week that really means nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just have something different. And and I think she'll have more direction. I think she could show, I think she will be a locker room leader. I think that she, I just think it's going to be a good change for them. I don't know. It's just, this is my difference. I just think it's going to be a good change.
To me, I think the whole leader thing, I mean, what feels wrong about that to me is that, like, she's 30 years old. For her to be a leader, you have to have been around the block and have some experience. She's 30, and she started wrestling when she was very young, from what I understand. But, like, for the most part, her wrestling experience is mostly WWE and then injuries. So, like, she started wrestling at a young age, but, like, what has she really done? And then she was like a fake GM role at WWE for a while.
Compared to all the other wrestlers back there besides Athena, what has they really all done compared to her?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but
do you know what I'm saying? Like, so,
but it's not the same. I mean, Madison Rain's done more. Serena Deeb's done more. Athena's done a lot. Ruby Soho, she's been around. She worked the Indies for a long time.
That's not the Neely though, as you know, the damn well that Ruby is not going to be anything near as Saraya.
I don't think any of these people are necessarily on the same level of Saraya as far as star power goes, but to come in and try to have somebody be this sort of locker room leader, or like, I don't know what this presentation was. I don't know what she is. They never explained it. Is she a wrestler? Is she a manager? Are they giving her this William Regal role where she's like a mentor? But, like, are they giving her this like Jericho role where she's a wrestler, but she's also kind of, like a mentor at the same time? She hasn't been around the way Jericho has. She doesn't have the accolades. She doesn't have the experience. She doesn't have all the notches on her belt that somebody like Jericho has or Regal has. And she doesn't like, and she looks like she's 25. She doesn't have that. She has a presence and a star presence, but she doesn't have the presence of like a sort of leader mentor. She looks like a kid. And then the way the way they structured this promo where she came out and introduced everybody, like, I don't mind the idea of, hey, this is a new start, right? That was the vibe. And I'm part of the revolution. Like, I like the idea of all of it, but she's a 30-year-old wrestler, and she just made all these other wrestlers look like less than. She came in like she's the boss. I'm here to fix things that are broken. Here's all the broken parts, and marches out the other wrestlers like they're the fucking problem. And it just, to me, it diminished everybody that was involved in the angle besides her. And so now, if she's going to be a wrestler, what happens next? She just made, to me, everybody else just looks like she's the 1-star player, and everybody else is like B level. The way this presentation went, that's how it felt. Now, what could work is Thunder Rosa comes back. I want my championship back. But before that, she has a thing with Saraya. Like, you came in acting like you're the queen of their women's division, but I was already here. I've been doing this for a decade, blah, blah, blah. But then what happens?
That's the thing,
like,
though.
She can't.
We don't know. we don't know what they're going to be doing though yet. And that's the thing is that we just have to see, because for right now, for what she's doing, I personally don't think she's going to wrestle that much. I think it's going to be a lot of commentary. I think it's going to be a lot of like promos and things like that. Yeah, she'll get chances. She'll wrestle here and there. But I honestly believe that she's more of trying to boost and just get the things going. Like I said, and I understand you don't want to talk about ratings and you don't think it's all about ratings, but networks do. And that's,
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? So if this is going to help, Khan's going to do it, I think. And I will say, it seemed like the locker room was extremely ecstatic to have her. Like they actually, I read a lot of, I don't know if you've seen that, but I didn't hear one bad thing of the locker room. Did not. I think they all extremely liked it because of the simple fact of, well, they figured, well, if she's here, kind of like you said, well, if she's here, it's going to be where Khan is going to pay more attention to the female division.
Yeah.
So everyone wins then. It's not just Paige. Even if they lose, let's say, everyone wins because she's actually going to make it where there's more longer matches. It's more important feeling. It's more, so everyone wins.
The matches have already gotten better. I think Madison Rayne coming in and being a coach on most of the women's matches. I mean, I think there's a dramatic difference. Everything just looks better. The booking was failing. But I think that if the booking was there, it would have been good. They wouldn't have needed this savior to come in and fix everything. If Tony Khan had just treated the women's division with the respect it deserves, then people would have tuned in. Then the matches wouldn't have low ratings in their, quarter hours or whatever it is. But I don't disagree if she, rising tide lifts all boats. If she comes in and is able to create some sort of, legitimacy within the organization. What are you doing?
Sorry. Yeah.
Anyway,
no,
I was trailing off. I honestly, I hope it works. She does have a star power. When she came out at the beginning of that promo, I'm like, oh, this could be cool. By the end, it felt like condescending to the rest of the women's division. And that's what I didn't like about it. And where does she go? Because she just made everybody else look lower than her. So if she is going to wrestle, she just made them all look like chumps.
Yeah. See, I don't think I didn't take it that way, just because I feel that they need a lot of help, because I was just losing interest of any kind, because there was no, to me, when the women had a match, it just was put together. Nothing really made shit. Like nothing made sense. It was like, okay, here you go. Here's a match. Like it was real quick. You could tell they didn't care. Like, Khan didn't care about giving them the special times or this and that. Like there's so many people that they have too. And I like Deep. I think Deep's one of the most talented people. I think she's actually more talented than Saraya. Don't get me wrong. But like, I think that
she's arguably the best wrestler they have.
Yeah. Yes. But okay, she's wrestling though 4 matches. She is literally doing Dark and Elevation and Rampage and so. Right. Therefore, it's like, okay, what about all these other people you have then? So, right. If, like I said, if freaking Saraya comes in and helps boost and gets more people, I just feel like everything will win. And I enjoyed it where she wasn't in the match, but she commentaried. It's going to be really nice to hear a female commentary just to give a different dynamic. I think
I agree with that. I think not having a female commentator up to now has been kind of a misstep.
Yeah, and if she does it where, let's say they make it where she commentaries on all the female matches, I won't be mad at that, because at least it puts more attention. So I would like to, so I'm not going to sit there and say that she's going to come in and take the belt and do this and that, because we have no idea what the intentions are. She might not even be cleared to wrestle. We have no idea. But by her,
but I would like to know. Like,
I would, yeah.
I think they missed it. I think that was another thing I was missing. And I've heard some people talk about like, okay, she's here. She's quote unquote the revolution. What does that mean? Are you a wrestler? Are you a manager? Like, nobody knows what you're doing. You just showed up, acted like, hey, I'm here to change everything. How, in what role? I don't know. Yeah. It was all confusing and haphazard, I thought.
Yep. I just
doesn't mean it's not going to work out in the long run. I hope it does.
I just think I just think it's going to be better. Just like I said, I know we're repeating ourselves now. We're like, why we
Okay, with your
takes of
repeating.
this.
Listen, if in a month, if Jamie Hayter's getting a push, if she's winning matches, if she's doing like legitimate stuff, I'll be happy.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, and I think
We should mark that down. What's today is the 29th. So let's give
29th
us four. Let's give us like at least a month.
a month.
A month from now. So like let's say after Halloween. We'll say after Halloween. We'll see what happens with the division. We'll see.
Spooky.
We'll see what happens with the female division if it's seems like it's in the right direction.
Did you want to talk about did we talk about any of the rest of Dynamite? Does it matter? That was the main thing.
That was the main thing. I mean, you could talk about what was the.
I'm just gonna scroll through real quick and see what else happened. I think actually one of my favorite things on the show, minor angle, was the Wheeler Yuta thing. This seems like kind of out of nowhere having Wheeler Yuta in a feud with MJF, but damn, like dude's doing good promos. He's not on the level of MJF, not on the level with MJF. Sorry, a little bit of whiskey. But putting him with MJF, I think, is elevating him, and it's cool and fun. Like, and they did that spot where he creeps up from behind, that spot they always do. And it was fun. It was cool.
Yeah.
And I like seeing Wheeler Yuta. He's never going to be the champ, but like, it's fun to see him on the up, It was fun to see Juice Robinson. I'm a big fan of Juice Robinson.
I even like the intro with the Jericho appreciation, that whole spiel. Like, it was just fun. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people don't like the pizza guy just because why is he getting more airtime than some wrestlers? But it still was fun because he was in the background. It wasn't like he had a major part.
I like the pizza guy. It's fun. Like, I like that Tony Khan has this sort of ear to the ground for like internet viral wrestling things, like the pizza guy, like Danhausen in all honesty. So it's cool that they brought him in because, like, most of my friends are not wrestling fans, but when that pizza guy video started going viral, like all my friends were texting me, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this?" Then all of a sudden he's on AEW. I thought that was cool. For the most part, I thought that was a cool thing. I like they're bringing the BCC into it with the whole Daniel Garcia. Is he happy being a sports entertainer as opposed to a pro wrestler? The only thing I didn't love was Garcia punching out the pizza guy. Pizza guy got a big pop. Maybe they didn't know if he'd get a big pop. I don't know. But like if they're turning him babyface, why do that heel move? Why take a cheap shot on a? But if he's not, why give anything away there? Why take a cheap shot on a little guy who's like a crowd favorite? That part I thought didn't.
I think when he teams up with Brian, I think he's going to turn on Brian and he's going to still go beat. I don't know why. I think they tease it so much of him turning face that it's not going to be. I think because the crowd thinks he's going to be, so therefore he's probably going to again go against Brian during their match and make him lose, and then still be with Jericho for a while. He will turn face eventually, but I don't think it's going to be now.
He's I mean, I'll say this. I don't see him as a baby face. He doesn't have a baby face persona to me. But they're doing a good job of making him feel like a baby face. Even if they're just teasing it and it's not going to happen for real. Like, I don't know. They're doing a good job with that. I'm convinced. But
he's also gotten a lot better too.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gotten a lot better, and I do believe that Brian is probably helping him. I think Brian's helping out a lot of people that he's not getting credit for.
His promos, I don't know how to describe. Like, he's got this thing where like his promos are good and bad at the same time. They're not bad, but like promos are good, but something isn't hitting the mark sometimes. And I can't explain what, and I have no idea why, because everything seems right, but I don't know what. I don't know. I can't. It's weird.
I think like if he does go into the Blackpool combat crap, I think he will get more guidance. Jericho's all over the place. That I think it's right now at this time, it's hard for him to concentrate on all the people now. Do you know what I'm saying? Because at first, when he did his different groups, he would always like get there and make everyone better. But now I think they're trying to have him do so much with the Ring of Honor and this and that I think Garcia, if they really want him to shine, because he's probably the better one out of all of them, the rest of them, he probably will have to go to Brian and Mox for the guidance and for like some kind of to grow more. I just don't think Jericho is going to be able to do, because Jericho to me, and I still like what he's doing. I still enjoy his promos, but I do feel that he's getting there where he's about to go, because he's not his people still love the song, people still love him, but it's not as special feeling anymore.
It's not.
So I think he knows it, and I think so he's trying to do his last push with the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And I think he's actually going to go, because he's 52 years old. I mean, he can, like, I don't think anyone's going to deny him, if he wants to go or whatever. He'll still wrestle a lot, but I think his mark is it's getting a little old.
Yeah. I agree. It's losing some of its impact. And in 3 years, it's not as new and exciting as it was. Obviously Jericho's not new, but like, it was exciting having him come in and help, prop this company up, and help build this new thing. But at his age and for like the years of doing it, it's starting to lose a little bit. And I don't think means it's not still good. And sometimes it's great, but it has only so much life left. Right. And, I mean, I love how they tied in with the cruise and all that stuff. But the cruise is not new anymore either. The song is not new anymore. And especially Jericho, who a lot of his shtick at this point is like a guy who's constantly doing something new.
Yeah.
And
then, like I said, they love the song. I mean, so they'll still sing the songs like that. But I just think like, he's going to be probably focused on Ring of Honor. I do think Garcia will eventually. I think, and because when Jericho leaves, if he ever leaves the Jericho Appreciation Society, all of them kind of is really not that good. Like besides Garcia, in my eyes, I don't really care for anyone else. Sammy got really lame to me with Tay, and then 2.0 is just kind of Hager's like, what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just think Garcia is the only one that like would have some kind of standout between all of them.
I think actually, like everybody in their roles, 2.0 are good, obnoxious heels that you can beat in a match, and their matches are fine. They're decent wrestlers. Their promos are fine. I mean, they're very comfortable on the mic. They don't stumble. Hager is just a big guy who like stands quietly in the background for the most part. Yeah. So like, I don't have a problem with any of those guys. And it kind of works having Jericho as a leader, because I don't want to say this condescendingly, because I don't, not to take anything away from everybody that's involved, but like, he feels like the important one among them.
Well, he is. So it's like, I mean, it's, yeah.
And they have the vibe of like being sort of like followers of this leader. So that all works for me. The Ring of Honor angle is interesting, how his whole thing is like, I'm going to beat all the Ring of Honor champions and beat up all the refs and commentators and ring announcers. I don't know. The idea that he's going to like destroy Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's kind of a little weird.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of having some sort of angle.
Yeah, but the whole ref, I don't know. It just seemed like it was too much to me. The refs, it's not like to me. It was just too much. But
it also like the promo fell apart there. Like he lost track of what he was saying.
And that's very odd for him. That was the first time I ever seen him actually lose.
Yeah.
So that's when I actually realized, I'm like, you know what, he is kind of, and that's when I actually put my thought saying that his time is kind of coming to an end. There's nothing wrong with it. He did such a fucking amazing 30 years over plus.
Yeah.
So it's okay. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see what happens in a month with the female division.
Here's what would be amazing.
Mhm.
Jericho wants to fight all the ex Ring of Honor champions, which is like right now who? Samoa Joe, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, Roosh, CM Punk. I don't know. There's a few of them in WWE. Rollins, I think maybe.
Yeah,
Probably.
I'm sure that it's one of the people that they could grab.
Yeah.
but
be interesting though.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see where it goes. They definitely need their own show though. Ring of Honor. Maybe they have it. Maybe that's why they wanted Jericho, because he's doing the same thing that they did when AEW first started. They gave him the belt because it was more eyes. So maybe maybe they are getting a Ring of Honor show. So this will hear Jericho could lead that.
Maybe they're trying to pitch it to a network, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Ring of Honor
yeah.
didn't have a real network before. I mean, they might have a long time ago, but right now I think it was just streaming on their website, or at least not right now, but around the time they shut down last year. So maybe he's trying to pitch it by saying like, "Hey, here's this guy. You've heard of him. He's sold lots of tickets in the past, and he, be a household name for you to attach to this." So that might be part of it. I don't know, but you're right. They need to do something, because floating around with all these guys. Also, please hire back. Like, I'm glad they hired the ring announcers and the announcers and the refs. Hire back Delirious. Hire back the booker. You don't need to be booking 2 wrestling promotions that you don't really have time to do.
Yeah.
And everybody seemed to love working with Delirious from what I've heard. So hire him back to work Ring of Honor. Hire him to help out with AEW. Get somebody else to help book shows, and then there's people out there, I would imagine, that would be good at it. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad this is a Ring of
indie
Honor
guy. Bring some indie guys in with this shit.
Ring of Honor / Dynamite.
What are we talking about anymore? I don't know.
I have no idea, but
hip hop, right? We end with theme songs. We're doing theme songs.
So we'll
right
tomorrow we'll watch. Tomorrow's Rampage. So we'll see what that is. I'm so glad it's not 2 hours. But anyway,
no.
Yes. So
I'm not
guess
done.
I'll see you tomorrow. We have to be done. There's only 2 minutes and 25 seconds.
I want 5 minutes. I'll Zoom. Tell them
we will see each other tomorrow on Rampage.
By the way, we're recording this on Zoom in case that joke zoomed over your head.
On that note, I will talk to you later.
C#?
Shut the